So with iOS and iPadOS 16.2 and alongside macOS Ventura 13.1, Apple finally released that software that they teased back at WWDC called Freeform. Now Freeform is a standalone application. It comes free with any Apple product that's running 16.2 or 13.1 on macOS, and it is Apple's attempt at a collaboration, at a full real-time collaboration software. And Apple really wants to kind of stake their claim and put their foot in the door in that competition, which Google has done for a very long time already. And in my opinion, Freeform is one of Apple's new secret weapons that'll fully replace Apple Notes, and it'll also probably replace a lot of note-taking applications already in the App Store. But without further ado, I want to give you guys a full beginner's guide on how to use Freeform on mostly macOS 13.1, but then also some tidbits on how to use with iPadOS and iOS 16.2. But before we get started, a quick word from our sponsor, MacPaw. To avoid paying thousands of dollars for premium and professional level licensed Mac apps, then channel sponsor Setup has you covered. They're an awesome platform that provides access to a curated list of professional level apps and tools built for macOS and iOS, all for a small monthly fee. There are new apps being added to Setup on a regular basis and currently has a library of over 240 applications. And not only are these full professional versions of these applications, but all future updates are free. My favorite feature has to be the Smart Search. You can simply look up the type of application you need, and Setup recommends the perfect application for that task. And lastly, you have your collections, which are a bundle of applications that are built to work together to help you accomplish your task in the most efficient way possible. So instead of paying thousands in licensing fees for all these different software companies, Setup is just $9.99 a month. But for a limited time, Setup is offering 9 to 5 Mac viewers 40% off their holiday bundle, which not only includes access to Setup, but also 1Password and Masterclass. So if you're looking to level up your productivity, or if you just want to try out new softwares in your workflow, click on the link below and give Setup a try before the holiday special ends on January 10th. Thank you to Setup for partnering up with 9 to 5 Mac, and back to the... Okay everybody, so let's jump right into this video. The first thing I want to show you is that you do need to be on macOS 13.1 in order for this to work. So if I go into my general, go into my about section, you can actually see that I am on 13.1 down here. So macOS Ventura, it is completely free for you to use Freeform, but you have to be on 13.1 and it is available to the entire public. And then secondly, what you want to do once you open up the application is you're going to want to go into your Apple ID, you're going to want to go into iCloud, and then you're going to want to actually check off the button down here. So this is going to be by default checked off. And basically what this does is that it allows you to sync all of your Freeform boards between your iPhone, your iPad, and your Mac computer. So make sure you turn this on unless you want to, keep them segregated completely. But I like to make sure that whatever I do on my iPad will show up on my Mac as well. So now that we got that stuff out of the way, let's open it up. So by default, it will be in your Launchpad. If you want to drag it into your dock, you can. But I'm just going to open Freeform, and here it is, everybody. And as you can see, it already has the boards. Since I was able to actually check off that little toggle in the settings, it does have the boards that I was playing around with my iPad. They're already on here. So you can see that this is how you actually navigate everything. And this is going to be a little bit of a beginner's guide, but I basically want to show you guys how to navigate it and what the ins and outs, pros and cons are of using something like Freeform and all the different features that it does bring. So it does follow the normal, UI aesthetic that Apple brought over about a year or two ago to kind of mimic what the iPad and the iPhone do. So on the left-hand side, you have your menu, which is all of your boards. You have your recents, your shared boards, which are boards that are actually shared with other individuals or other computers. Then you have your favorites as well over here. You can actually get rid of this little bar, which is nice, move this back over. Then you also have the new one. You have the ability to actually view this in a list if you want to, or in actual tiles, which I prefer the tiles. Maybe once I get a lot of boards in here, it might get a little messy. So maybe I will go into something like this and rename them. But these are the different views, and then obviously you have the ability to search within your boards, whether you do search on the name of the board, or you can even also search within the board itself. So you see that I typed in ESPN, and in this one board I have an ESPN link in here, so it's able to pull up that board. So I do like how you're able to smart search inside of the board, and you're not just like searching for the title of the board or when it was created. So now that we got that easy navigation out of the way, let's open up a brand new board and see what it looks like. So we're going to open it up. So let's name this test V1, and that is going to be the name. And first off, let me show you guys exactly what's going on. So on the top, you have all your tools, which we'll touch on in a little bit. You have your share button, you have another create new in here, and then you also have down here, which is your zoom panel. So this zoom panel is very, very important because one of my favorite things about Freeform, and something that they kind of leveled up on compared to the regular Notes application, is this idea of an infinite canvas. So for instance, I can actually use pinch to zoom out, and you can see that the pixels are way smaller. And you can zoom all the way out to about 10%, as you can see that down here it's changing, and then you can zoom in with your trackpad, zoom all the way into, I believe 400% is the maximum. So 400% is the maximum zoom in. So it's technically not an infinite canvas, but it gets the job done and you can really fit a ton of stuff on here. So by default, I like to have that 100%. Let's open this up and really get a feel for what Freeform is like. So this first option right here is a post-it note option. So you can click on the post-it note, it'll bring up a post-it note. You can resize it just like you would resize any other object. You can double click in here and start to actually type in here. You can move it around just by clicking it. And then if you double click, you can actually just start typing in here. So if I want to say, hello, this is my checklist for the upcoming project. And there you go. Let's and then you can see that spell check is still in here. So this is what it looks like. And then you do get some nice little added bonuses in here. So you can actually change up, make everything bold if you want to. So highlight everything, make it bold. I can, you know, your hotkey still works. You can italicize with Control I, Control B. You can center it. You can move it to the left if you want to. And then you can also add bullets. So if I want to actually make this a bulleted note and not use that little hyphen, by all means, you can do that and you create a little checklist. And now, as you can see, if I zoom out, it gets smaller and then I have more of a canvas to work with. And yes, maybe it's not as legible if I zoom all the way out. I can easily just zoom back in and then be able to read it. And then what I do want to see is that with the actual scroll bar, so I am using a Logitech mouse, the scroll wheel on that actually moves it up and down. It doesn't zoom in and out. So that's something to take notice of. If you thought it was going to zoom in, it's not going to do that. It's actually just going to move up and down in that canvas. Some other things to note with this actual sticky note is if you just click once on the sticky note, you actually have the ability to change the color of the sticky note. So you can change it to orange, blue, gray. You don't have an infinite number of actual colors that you can choose from, but these are all pastel-y colors, which pretty much correspond with what an actual post-it note looks like. And then you have the ability to actually change the font completely. So you can actually go in here and make it bigger if you want to, italicize it, make it smaller, underline it, add those bullet points like I mentioned. And then if I double click, then you get a smaller version of those actual tools. And again, you can just open this up and make it as big as you want or as small as you want. So we're going to zoom out a little bit because now we're going to play with the rest of the toolbar up here. So this very self-explanatory, same thing that you have in the notes application. You can add shapes, you know, another square, you can add a circle. You can change up the size of it, make it bigger, make this a little bit, change the actual angle of how big the radius is of the corners for rounded corners. And then again, just like with the post-it note, you can click on it once, actually change the color of it. And you have a much bigger canvas in terms of what colors you can choose. You have an entire color gamut to choose from. You have the ability to add an outline to this, whether it's dotted, solid, make it thicker if you want, which is cool. Change the color of it. So if I want to make it white, I can do that, or make it gray or green even, you can do that. And then also, like I said, it's just like a post-it note. You can double click in here and then just start typing away if you want to. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger because I can. So as you can see, it's very self-explanatory. If you're in the macOS world, then this is going to be very familiar to you, right? Being able to resize text, being able to add text, being able to change colors, being able to right click and get options, being able to just click once and get a dynamic version of a toolbar up here. All things that are very, very familiar if you are a macOS user. And again, Apple added a huge library of different things that you can add. So you have ornaments, you have work-related icons, you have activities and sports, people, arts. So let's see if I actually add a person in here. So if I make this person here, can I type in the person? It looks like you can actually type inside of this person and it does work nicely. So that's something to keep in mind if you are somebody that's kind of using different icons more so than just shapes. And then if I keep zooming out, you can see that I get more and more space in this canvas. And I'm using the trackpad is the best way to navigate it. If you are somebody that has a trackpad and a mouse, that is the best of both worlds because you can use a trackpad to actually navigate, zoom in and out, and scroll around, but then you can use the actual mouse to get a pinpoint cursor lockdown when it comes to navigating this. So if we continue on with our toolbar, if you click on this, this is exactly what it sounds like. Let's zoom in here. It is just a way to enter text. So in here, you can see that we have all the same shortcuts we had before. So your bold, your center alignment, your bullet points, the size of the font, the color of the font, and then you have this little button right here to show font and show colors. So if I want to show the fonts, I can, and then down here, you get all of your font colors or all your different types of fonts, including the ones that you added manually if you do have some like that. So again, we'll just type in hello here, and we'll continue to zoom out, and you can see that now I'm fully zoomed out, and you can see that it's right there, and I can zoom all the way in here. Like, look how far I can zoom in. I'm only at 100. If I want to go all the way to 400, now you can see that I'm very, very close to this, and if I keep scrolling up, I should be able to see this man that we had from before. It's all right there for you to be able to see it. And you also have the ability to zoom to fit content, so everything that you actually have on the canvas will be viewable if you click on that button. And now this is where it kind of really starts to branch out a little bit. So this next button right here is your media button. So if you click on here, you can actually add links. So if I want to add a link, let's say I want to add www.espn.com. We'll press insert, and then all of a sudden you have this ESPN kind of bookmark button that you can press. So I press once on ESPN and then click on the I, it's going to bring up either Chrome or Safari, depending on which one you use. If you double click on it, same thing. It's just a shortcut for that button. And then if I click one more time, I can press this refresh button in order to get a better version of the website. But if we continue on, we can do photos and videos, so I can load items. Let's say I want to add this picture right here, make this bigger because I'm kind of moving it around. I'm doing maybe like a little collage that I want to do. And then if I want to, let's say, add this little word art over here, hello there, I'm going to highlight that big, make it a little bit bigger. So everything works as it's intended to. And again, it's very self-explanatory. So the more that you use it, the easier it is to find where things are and how to use them. And then you can see that it actually works extremely well with the rest of your Apple ecosystem. So for instance, you can see that I have my one iPhone, my 13 Pro Max iPhone, and my M1 iPad Pro iPhone. So I'm able to actually take a photo, let's say, from my iPad. So let's take a photo. Use your iPad to take a photo. So you can see that the iPad is now looking at a picture. So automatically it opens up my camera application. And let's say I want to take a picture of this right here. We're going to use this photo, which you guys will be able to see hopefully real soon. And immediately it shows up. So this is a photo that's right on my desk. And I'll show you guys with some B-roll of what that looks like and how it works. But it's exactly how it's intended. If I click it once, you can actually click on the original size or replace it. You can crop it as well, which is also beautiful to see. So if I want just this Mars snow globe to appear, press done, make this even bigger. So that's that. Press it again, and you get a full screen version of it. And you can do that with pretty much any of your iOS devices. So as you can see, if I just unclick there, you can take a photo with your phone. You can actually sketch from your phone, scan a document from your iPad, and place it in there. And then finally, you do have your files. So if you want to import something from your files, by all means, you can do that. So if I go into my desktop, go into my temporary, let's say if I go into my wallpaper pack, let's click on this one right here. Let's insert it. We'll make this a little bit bigger, and you can see that this is my wallpaper that we've been working on for a little while now, but you can just import it and put it right into the Freeform, and you can have somebody come in and edit it if you see fit. Okay, everybody, so now that we know how to actually use it, so this is how I use it personally, a lot of note-taking, a lot of being able to see exactly how I'm thinking and things like that. But the main thing about Freeform is that, yes, it is an infinite canvas. Yes, Freeform is a great name for it, but it's meant to be shared. So on the right-hand side, there is that classic share button. And in here, you have the ability to share this board in multiple ways with multiple different people. So obviously, you could airdrop it, but I'm going to use messages. It says preparing. I'm going to send it to myself. So if I type in Fernando, let's send it over, press enter. It's sending it over. And then on my phone, I should be able to pull it up fairly easily. So then if I go into my messages, I'm going to pull it up on my iPad actually. And then immediately you can see on the top right-hand corner, that is the icon that I have for my secondary self. And I can actually start grabbing stuff and moving it around. So you can see that I'm moving it around from my iPad. And you can see that in real time, it is moving on the actual computer itself, which is so nice to see. And the fact that it's doing it so quickly and so seamlessly with very little lag is very impressive. So I'm resizing that. If I want to go in here and add, let's say, a text box. So you can see that something happened in here. So if I zoom into here, I actually have the ability to click it myself and probably make it bigger. So let's make that bigger. Let's make this font 144. And then on my iPad as well, it's editing and updating in real time. So very easy to work collaboratively on this. And then in order to video chat with people, all you have to do is click on their icon right there. You can message them, you can FaceTime audio, you can video participant cursors. So you can actually manage a shared board a little bit more. And you can see that I did invite myself in there. And then, like I said, you can actually share this in a bunch of different ways with shortcuts, reminders, just with a link, in news, notes, messages, mail, airdrop, and add to your reading list. So overall, being able to actually share this and work with it in real time is a very cool thing to see. And it's kind of like magic. I love to see it. Like I'm making this bigger, moving it around. I love to be able to actually just move stuff around and work with it in real time. But that is Freeform in a nutshell, everybody. Very easy to understand, very self-explanatory. My favorite parts about it have to be the infinite canvas and then obviously the real-time collaboration feature and how well it works, which I love to see. So overall, kudos to Apple, like I mentioned before, for kind of bringing this even after we've already paid money for the hardware, because this thing has been absolutely amazing. But that's going to do it for this view. Let's get out of here and go to the next view. So that is going to do it for this video, everybody. Like you saw, Freeform is a very powerful tool. Everything that you think you can throw at it, it can handle. And one of my favorite things about this, and it's something that I wish Apple also brought over to the regular Notes application, is that infinite canvas. Being able to zoom in as much as you can and zoom out as much as you want, to be able to create free-flowing kind of Venn diagrams and org charts and be able to kind of point at things and move them around, resize them, the ability to add shapes, the ability to add links, the ability to add post-it notes, being able to FaceTime and collaborate in real time. Everything just works so seamlessly inside of Apple's ecosystem, and Freeform just jumps right into that. So being able to just now have a new tool inside of all of your iOS, iPadOS, and macOS devices is something that you gotta give kudos to Apple in terms of always providing more and more value, even though you already purchased that hardware device. So hopefully you guys learned something. If you did, leave a little dolphin in the comments down below, and let me know in the comments as well. Is Freeform something that you're going to be using? Is it something that you're going to be using more personally, like myself? Like, I'm going to use Freeform mostly for note-taking for my personal use, but are you going to be using it maybe in the classroom, maybe in business situations? Are you going to be using it how it was intended to be used and collaborate amongst other people? Let me know in the comments down below if you've had the chance to play with Freeform, or if it's something that's just going to kind of sit in your iPhone or sit in your Mac and probably never use it again. But that's going to do it, everybody. If you want to watch more macOS, iOS, or iPadOS videos, click on one of these right here and stay tuned for some CES coverage, because that's where we are right now. But until next time, I'm Fernando. I'm out of here.